Where do I begin with this? Well, Valour 1, Halifax Wanderers 0. Another defeat, another scoreless defeat. And this time on the road. It seems more and more that like the Pacific game was an absolute anomaly. And here's the weird part. I mean the other weird part, besides that thing that happened in the 18th minute with the real man, with our real man of the match, Akio. There were a lot of really strong, amazing performances from the likes of Rampersad, Robinson, Fernandez, Polisi, Oxner, Bent, Schaale. But basically anyone who wasn't a starting forward had some sort of positive thing going on. But the reality is we were even more toothless in attack for the first 60 minutes than we usually are. And it showed. And Valour were just, and our attempts to absorb pressure, Valour met those attempts and completely overtook them. They were able to just keep going and going and going and going. I'm going to go get the secondary stats. It's some ridiculously one-sided stuff. Something, I mean, particularly with regard to shots, I think it was something like 17 to 3 total shots. And I know that there is one thing to be said for, picking your moment versus making your box a hellscape, but in this case, 19 goal attempts, 5 shots on goal, 9 shots off goal, 5 block shots, compared to our 6 goal attempts, 3 shots on goal, 3 shots off goal. And like 4 of those goal attempts came after Robinson and Bent came in. That's what Stephen Hart must have been talking about with regard to us putting in a press and an attack later on. He said, we were lethargic in the first half. We moved the ball way too slow on possession, and off of it, we didn't move close enough to put pressure on the other team. They made us run. Well, yeah, forced. The thing is, we also conceded a buttload of corners. Yeah, we conceded 9 corners. We were, and so it's not like we were super solid on defense either. Our midfielders, again, friggin' heroes, these, especially Rampersad, who did about as much work as you would expect a center back to do, in addition to his midfield stuff. Him and Oxner. Actually, screw that. Oxner, I'm putting Oxner in the excellent category for this one. Him and Oxner. I mean, Oxner had some of the best performance I've ever seen from him. Good, like a lot of really good saves that prevented 1-0 from becoming like 4 or 5. And Rampersad, a midfielder, not even a defensive midfielder usually, got in that box and did the job just the same. His versatility shows. We had a lot of solid performances, but the result, the mission statement of basically playing for the draw just wasn't it. And I'm glad that we tried to adapt eventually, but clearly we probably should have done at the second half rather than being hell bent on going with the whole play for the draw thing. It's 60 minutes. I mean, when you do this and they're like all over your box like they were, past a certain point you begin to wonder if that's a good idea. I mean, Sirwa drops balls on the reg as his approach to catching the thing. Probably get Marshall and Daniels to link up and take advantage of that. Speaking of link ups, Robinson in the second half, Robinson did have some really good link up. So did Bent. Marshall was anonymous for a lot of the game, but Bent had some amazing link up. Had an amazing link up with him that saves him from getting a crap rating. Marshall, I mean, where Sirod just saves it by the tips of his fingers. If that was a little higher or a little further to the right, it'd be an entirely different game. The playing for the draw almost worked, and it led to what I think are ignored opportunities on attack. Well, there's definitely value in inviting pressure, and in the first half, one would have to admit that there was. Anticipate. We invited too much, and you have to be quick to respond to that pressure. Think Atletico Ottawa. They play well on the counterattack because they know the limits of their ability to absorb pressure, and they know when to get in on the counter. And they also know when to stop, because Atletico Ottawa against us, they realized they weren't getting in with their plan, and the second half they changed it, and they put two past us. And the last 25 minutes were very painful for us because they were also able to get Salter's ass and get him sent off. His absence really showed here, let's have it right. William Akio's amazing clear off of the line is friggin'... I love his response to that, especially since they won and it's not like the gaff cost him, so it makes it a lot easier for him to roll with it and to, adapt better to a similar situation in the future. I really like the way he handled that gaff and the banter. Like a pro, to be honest. Yeah, he's a great... If I had to pick a favorite Valour player, Akio. Just for how he's a big man, and he does good things for them. Anywho, player details. Robinson and Bent, I put them together because they were part of the same thing that needed to happen about 15 minutes earlier. We started showing offensive strength as soon as they both came in, especially Robinson. Not nearly enough, sadly. There was the Bent Marshall link up, and then there was the Robinson link up with a few others and Schaale was part of that offensive link up, which is an interesting surprise. I have it in my minute by minute notes. Robinson gets a really good run in off of a strong long... No, wait, no, that's the wrong one. Fernie, Polisi, and Schaale get a genuinely clear chance by linking up with each other. Fullback, midfielder, center back. And Sirwa had to really jump in to get it. This was after the free kick that JGL took. Daniels, he either does well or he doesn't. Yesterday, he didn't do well. He had a touch like, not even rubber, like flubber. It was like, boy, nearly every time it hit his foot. And there were a lot of cases where that led to Valour getting it off of that heavy, heavy touch. Garcia. His form had been slipping from his initial amazing form, and this is sadly a continuation of that. He had minimal effect on the game, but he did help retain possession a few times. Marshall. For much of the game, he may as well have been sat at my apartment with my cat on his lap. However, in the second half, he really did show some strength, like with a great run-in from Bent and some really good passes that did end up mattering a little. But overall, he had a poor game. Oxner had the best game I've seen from him, and it was one where we lost. And it was one where I'm serious, the one that had me worried And that was his best game. Ain't that some shit? Football, huh? He had a lot to do, and he was able to do most of it. One of Oxner's earlier performances, even like the one prior to this, Valour would have put like 3 past him, the way they were playing. Rampersad directly prevented as many goals as Oxner did, controlled his portion of the midfield well throughout, a master of the little things of midfield play. A fine defensive midfield performance from somebody who's usually more of a central midfielder. Gander had what the French call un cauchemar. Conceded a lot of corners, got played through often like he wasn't even there, and got done completely for both the Akio moment and the goal. Fernandez defended very actively and covered some extra positions as needed. Improvisationally strong, but forced too often into improvising by Valour's offensive prowess this game. Polisi, consistently quick to catch passes and succeed on passes that are often easily missed. I think I had something for Schaale. Schaale, strangely, a strong offensive performance from him and pretty decent defensively. He gets done for the goal, but he defends so well outside of that I still was able to give him like a good performance, even at the very edge of a good. So, to wit, excellent. Rampersad, Oxner, and especially Akio. Let's see. Alright, nope. Let's... Alright. I'm just going to see if I can... Yeah, notepad. There we go. And show it. Just need to get that. Just need to expand that. Excellent. Rampersad, Oxner, Akio. Especially Akio. I mean, look at him. Good. Robinson, Fernandez, Polisi, Bent, Schaale. Which, considering we lost a must-not-lose game, that's the weird part. We had strong performances, but the tactics we were imposed on us as a team, they just didn't work, and we were just too slow to adapt to them. And Hart admitted exactly what the problem was in the posting, but he said that before, and he hasn't adapted. I have my doubts of the guy now. The players did what they could, even the ones that sucked. Speaking of the ones that, poor Marshall, who was anonymous until he really started shining near the end, almost. Daniels, who had the heaviest touch I've seen in a while, and was one of the few midfielders who wasn't strong. Gander was having a nuclear stinker today, and Garcia was anonymmus. He was a ghost. I hope he recovers his early season form, because right now he is struggling. And I'm seriously worried now pertaining to the Halifax Wanderers. All rides on Edmonton and York. I don't think we're going to get jack shit from Calgary. I'd love to be proven wrong. And it's going to be another bang average month. That's if we do the business at Edmonton and York when we return home. I'm not... We're 6th now. And I'm beginning to... Dorado, take the wheel. Alejandro Dorado, please take the wheel. And board, please get the transfer business done, especially up front. That is all. Together from a ways.